If you think you're too old at 25, you've been lied to, and it's time to rewrite your story. The amount of posts I have seen over the past couple years of people expressing their concerns about turning not only 25, but like 22 and 23, it's a little disturbing. And even though I have my own, judgments towards this and I think it's ridiculous, it also does make sense. So we're going to get into all of that today, and hopefully you can leave this episode just feeling a little more inspired, safe, grounded, and okay with where you're at and your journey. Welcome back to the Stella Rae Podcast, y'all. As you can see, we are in a new setup, and I did not post a video last week or an episode last week. I felt like I was kind of in a rhythm with my podcast, and then it just started to feel a little stale. This is some real talk, y'all, and this is like a side note, but I definitely live in a stereotypical like New York City shoebox apartment, and just where I was filming before, setting that up was just getting so annoying, and it would feel so cramped. So that's not to say I will never film there again, but in the meantime, I'm like, if this is causing me so much stress, let's just do something different. So that's just your reminder. Like, if something's not working, if you feel like there is an obstacle, or every time you go to do something that you do want to do, it's like, ugh. Like, that's how it feels every time. It's like, time to record. And that's supposed to be like a fun, like, yay, I get to record. It was like, ugh. And it's literally just because I was feeling cramped in that space, and it was a hassle to like set up and then take down. And so I think that's also why the episodes were getting shorter, but let me not get ahead of myself. I was just like, nobody's forcing me to film here. Like, it's actually gonna be better if I stop. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and realize that there are obstacles you can do something about very easily. So now we have my chic little plant, and we're feeling a lot more relaxed and in the zone. So as you're listening to this, I first just want to have a little mindful moment. And this is something that they actually do in my Mind Body Green health coach certification class. In the beginning of every class, we start with a mindful moment. And that's something they also recommend you can do in the future with clients. And I just thought that would also be such a great idea to do at the beginning of the podcast, because I really want this to feel like, okay, we can kind of relax. We can like relate. If you're reading the comments, sometimes it's like people share their stories. There's so much stress and just unnecessary noise on social media. And so I really want my corner of the internet to be like, okay, we can relax a little bit. That doesn't mean we're not going to talk about serious things or like get deep. But I think what I want the takeaway to always be is like, okay, I feel a little more optimistic. So wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on your TV, in the car, on your hot girl walk, just take a moment to take a deep breath and really center yourself in this moment. Get present, take a couple deep breaths. It really makes all the difference to just take a pause, ground yourself. Again, we have so much noise, not only in our actual real lives and stress and bills and family members, kids, coworkers, randoms, but online too. It's like sometimes we want to go for a quick little scroll to get away from the stress, and it just ends up being more stressful. So just know it is so important to actively, practice mindfulness and rest, and you deserve it. It's a good way to check in with yourself. So topic of the day, y'all. Getting older. I have seen such an increase in these posts, and part of me, I'm not sure if it's just because I'm like past that point, so I'm more aware of it, but I kind of feel like so many other blasts from the past, negative kind of views on the world and like just unhealthy beliefs, it's like kind of making a comeback where like, is it ageism? It's the fear of getting older. It's the fear that you're past your prime. It's the fear that you're never gonna like, I don't know, that you haven't achieved anything. And it's just all this pressure. I feel like I've seen a lot more of it. And I think that is probably the case due to just this increase in very conservative culture making a comeback. And I think a belief that is kind of instilled in that movement is that you're past your prime. Like, women are past their prime over 25. And this definitely affects men and women. I think we all just face a lot of pressure to be successful and to be successful by a certain age. And, that's kind of the American dream, and a lot of this comes from times where that was like the only options people had. Also, life expectancies were a lot shorter, so it just made sense. Like, okay, you need to do this by this age because that's all literally the time you have. But now it's like we have time, we have options, and it doesn't feel like that because we also live in a much more fast-paced world now, and we're seeing like all these people's accomplishments all the time, and it's like, and it creates this sense of urgency and panic, like, oh, I haven't done that yet, I must be behind, I'm falling off. When in reality, it's like you're not, you're just seeing someone's highlights or like a click farm thing or like read my thread of like how I became a millionaire at age 19 and it's like, just sign up for my course and you too will be. There's just so much fake stuff out there. Oh my God. So point of all of that being, I don't think it's a coincidence that I feel like I'm seeing more of these posts. And sometimes it's very casual. It's like from your those trendy accounts that you see on like Twitter or TikTok, and it's like, oh my God, I'm like an old person. Like it comes across like casual, funny memes, but it's kind of crazy how many people are retweeting this or sharing this, agreeing, like thinking it's relatable. So I am 26, about to be 27, which is kind of insane just how fast time flies. But I want to talk to y'all about my own experience because I feel the opposite of the and I know not everyone feels like that, so I kind of wanted to share like what has helped me maintain the mindset of not being afraid. And this could change, I'm still like in my 20s. You never know, this could change like maybe as I get actually a lot closer to 30 or like whatever. But let me talk about my experience, especially for you youngins out there. Number one, I just always felt like unexperienced and like I didn't know with like a capital K. I didn't know from like 18 to 22. So I moved out basically when I was 17, but like got my first apartment when I was 18, living in Hollywood. Typically all of my friends were older than me, like for the most part. And so these were people that had already been going out. They were like over 21. They had been going to bars for a while. And I remember, especially when I started to go to bars and stuff, it's like I just didn't know. And I would feel this insecurity. It's like you don't even know how to like order a drink at a bar. I remember, and also I'm like the oldest sibling. I have a younger sister, so it's like if you're the oldest sister, especially like if you're just any like oldest sibling, you have to be the one to like figure things out. You don't have that like person to tell you what to do. So I remember one of my best friends I had at that time, she was like 6-ish years older than me. I like this is how much of an impact this had on me. I remember we were out one night and she got this guy. We were like getting food after a night out. She got this guy in line to like buy her food for her. And I had just never seen anything like that. Like I was never taught like I just didn't know that was like a thing. Like my mom especially like raised me to be an independent woman. It's like very much that, which like blessed, grateful, because like I wouldn't want to have been taught to like be dependent on a man and like that's all I'm good for is like cooking and cleaning. You know what I mean? But like I was like, oh my God, a whole new world. I didn't know we could do that. Like what? And she was like, yeah, like duh, like what? So it was just things like that. It's like, oh, it's like so many things. I want to say it's like street smarts kind of, but it's like having game, like just knowing. I don't know, like I didn't feel like an adult. I didn't really know how to like just do so many things that like you just have to experience to know unless you have someone older than you like telling you, teaching you, showing you. And that's so funny. Like I remember the day. I remember we were singing like Child's Play by Drake in the line because we were like kind of like drunk and she just got the guy to buy her food. And then he was like blowing her phone up after and she was like ignoring him. That changed my mindset forever. I wonder if she remembers that. That's so funny. So it's like I didn't like the feeling basically of not knowing because also I think as an oldest sibling, and you could relate to this and not be an oldest sibling, but it's like you like to know. Like I like to be the one. I'm the oldest one. I should know. So to not know kind of created this like just insecurity. And I think it's also just experiencing new things, going out into the world. If you don't know, you're gonna feel kind of like, oh no, like kind of like shaky. There was always kind of this feeling of like awkwardness for me, just even being at an apartment where I was typically like the youngest one and like I just didn't really feel taken seriously. Like I didn't feel like an adult. You know, like dealing even with maintenance people or like if there was an issue, I just didn't feel like they would take me seriously because I was so young. So that is something I'm very grateful has changed. So, okay, time goes on, you know, we're growing up, years are passing. It was around 23 where for the first time I started to feel kind of like, okay, like I get it a little bit more. And I remember going out and stuff because I've been going out pretty much since I was like 18. Like, babe, what do you think I was in Hollywood for? You know what I mean? But like, I finally felt like I knew, again, capital K. But with that also came this sense of like, now when I'm out, I'm not the youngest one. And so I can peep these other girls and you can just tell they're new to this. Like, I remember being at the club one night and there were all these girls and I just felt, I don't want to say I felt old, like, I wish I was like that young again, but it was like, I didn't feel old, like I shouldn't be here, but it was kind of the first inklings of like, oh, like, I already know. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like I was looking at those girls like, I wish that was me. Oh my god, my youth has like surpassed me. My youth has passed me by. But I was just like, oh, like it was just that contrast of like, that used to be me. I used to not know what was going on and just be a little more immature and like whatever. But now it's like, I'm the chic one in the section. I'm like the baddie in the section. I'm not like the 20-year-old, the 19-year-old, like looking to my friends on what to do next. You know what I mean? And so that was kind of a good feeling. But that also came with some changes. I mean, I enjoyed that for sure. There was like my last year in LA, I think it was like my last year because it was after COVID and I had a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. Like that was I was like a little poppin' girl, like, and nothing, it was like nothing crazy, but it was like, okay, like, again, I know now, like I was dating, I was having fun, I was the poppin' girl, like everywhere I went, I was like poppin'. I just had so much more game, which was a good feeling. But then also, as time went on even further, it's like this starts to get old. Now I'm starting to feel like I am too old for certain situations. And this is very subjective. You know, some people don't feel like this. Do you? I'm not like judging you if you don't feel like that and you're like my age. But for me, I just started to feel like over certain things. Like I don't want to go to the club with a promoter anymore. I just feel like too old for that. I've done that. No tea, no shade. You know, especially if you're young, like use that to your advantage if that's what you want to do. But now it's like I've done that. Like no, like I don't want to go to a club, really, period. But I only really want to go if someone is personally inviting me to their table that they bought. I don't want to be in this weird like situation with like a million other girls and now they're all like way younger than me and I feel like just kind of out of place and it's like, okay, this isn't like my vibe. And I'm using this as an example because I think it is the most in your face kind of just tangible like example. I'm like literally seeing these girls in front of me, you know? But also what came with this, again, just getting older and stuff, is a lot more just, I guess the word would be confidence. When those maintenance people come, I have had enough experience to where I can tell them. You know how to stand up for yourself. You know how to negotiate. You know how things should be, how things should operate. And so people still try to play you for sure. Like, I'm still young, don't get it twisted, but it's like I feel grown. And it's a good feeling because you're like, I know what I like. I know, again, how things should go. This is not correct. You need to fix this, please. XOXO. And also your brain fully develops at 26 question mark. I think it's like in the 25 to 26 range. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that it's like it's the part of your brain that has foresight. So when you're making a decision, you're like less likely to just do something impulsively. You're more likely to think something through. And that has been like, I'm just like, why couldn't I just be born with this already in place? Like my life would be it's like your brain literally just locks in and you're like, oh my God, like a whole new world. I can just see things so much more clearly. I can think things through so much clearly. And again, also with just having life experience, you kind of just know how some things are going to go, so you don't even have to put yourself through the BS. Why couldn't my brain have been developed sooner in life? So when you see these tweets, again, of people that are like, I'm so scared to turn 23, what turning 23 feels like, and it's, I guess, them in the graveyard or whatever meme. Bro, your brain, you still have a few years to go before your brain is even fully developed. And it's kind of frustrating that there isn't more, I don't know, like examples in mainstream media or like in movies or shows or just even like growing up in like health class or like sex ed or when we're going through puberty. It's like so focused on that, which I guess makes sense because that's what you're going through at the time. But you kind of grow up, unless I guess somebody tells you differently, you kind of grow up just thinking like, when I'm an adult, and that's it. But it's like, no, there's all these other phases of life. Like I didn't even learn about your brain fully developing until I was probably 22 or 23 because of like being online. Bro. Which, side note, I don't even think, I did not learn that women could achieve an O until I learned on Tumblr. They didn't teach us that. Like, that also was not in the Care and Keeping of You book, the American Girl sex ed book. Like, what? I had to learn that on Tumblr, like in a text post. Like, that's so crazy. But yeah, there's so many more phases of life and there's just no guidance for people. And I think that's also part of why we feel this pressure, and like some people just have full breakdown. Like, oh my God, not to mention like a midlife crisis. Bro. But even let's like stick to where we are in life. I mean, I guess we could make an episode on that, but what am I gonna say? Interview some divorced dads. Just kidding. Quarter life crisis? I don't know. Just like this panic people feel like, oh my God, I'm not like married yet. Oh my God, I don't know my career yet. It's like, it's kind of like a lot of normal stuff. But then we just feel all this judgment and it's not really normalized to talk about. Like, yes, it is in spaces like this or like online or like maybe with your besties, but it's like if you have to go to some kind of family reunion and it's like all these like old people that you haven't seen forever and then like nosy people, they're like, well, why aren't you married yet? Or like if you're married, why don't you have kids yet? Oh, well, like, why is that your job and not this? It's still all these expectations and like just questions and a way of thinking that reflects this olden days way of life. Like the olden days American dream, you are dead by, I don't know, what was the like average life expectancy?
The average life expectancy in the year 1950 was 78.54 years.
I guess that's not like that young, but with that being said, also we cannot control other people's perceptions or what they're going to ask us. All we can control is our own sense of self and our own mindset and like what we are doing, what beliefs we have, and how we are reinforcing those beliefs in our day-to-day life. So for example, I think just really prioritizing yourself and it's so cliche, but what makes you happy? I told you guys the story a few months ago of how I went on a date with this guy. He's like, what's your like plan for your life? Oh my God, so annoying because they want you to be like, I want to get married and have kids with you today. And it's like, my goal and vision for my life is to be happy, because you have to tap into your values, because that is like the goal. If you have goals of like, I want a family, I want kids, it's like, that's fine, perfectly valid. But going a little bit deeper into like, what about that do you value and want? There's exercises you can do for this. There's a list, Brene Brown's list of values. You can go and look up and see which you identify the most with. But it's kind of like with manifestation. You don't necessarily want the thing. You want the feeling that the thing is going to bring you. So when you can go straight to that feeling, you're going to have such a more fulfilling, well-rounded, satisfying life and quality of life, because you're actually putting what matters most to you first, rather than like society's expectations, your family's expectations, what you think you should do, what all of your friends are doing. Because that, like, the thing, whether it's like a family, whether it's like 6 kids, whether it's like this type of house or this kind of career, it doesn't guarantee you the feeling that you want. So the feeling could be like security, it could be adventure, it could be freedom, it could be honesty, like integrity, it could be creativity. Like there's so many values that you could have. If you're doing something because maybe this will bring me that, it's like, no, start with the feeling, the value, and then doors will start to open up that will bring you closer to that value and align you more closely with it. Does that make sense? So same with manifestation. If you want, for example, like, I want this dream vacation or something. I want this dream house. It's like, okay, what do you think that would bring you? And like, obviously some things are completely valid and like, yeah, like everyone needs like basic, like needs. There's like, everyone needs food, water, shelter, etc. Like community, things like that. But with kind of like extra stuff or like, oh, like this is my dream life or whatever, it's like, okay, well, what do you think that's going to bring you? It's like, it's going to bring me peace. Okay, so how can I implement or attract or incorporate peace more into my daily life now? Because the feeling should be on having and like gratitude and like, yes, I embody this, like I attract this because I am this, rather than, oh, I want this, like, and kind of then you end up feeling just this desperation. So law of attraction, manifestation, and also just like life. Then you're living on your own type of time. You know, if your family or if society is like, you need to be married by age 28, but you are living by your own values and your own path that is like bringing you fulfillment and like making you happy and excited each day, you're not going to care so much about what society is saying. And then you're going to see those tweets of people freaking out that they're turning 23. Be like, okay, like, I don't actually relate. I think it's also really important to have positive role models, especially if you are a woman that are older than you. So I actually made a list of women that I follow that are older than me. I love my girl Tamsin. I never know how to pronounce her last name. Is it Fidal? She actually just wrote a book about menopause titled How to Menopause, and her whole page is about just so many like health related things and kind of just normalizing, you know, aging and menopause and all of that. I put Holly Berry on here. Tracy Ellis Ross. Did y'all see the interview with Tracy Ellis Ross where she was talking about being single? Period. Dr. Doris Day, she's a dermatologist, again, talks a lot about aging and like things you can do when you're younger, like our age, if you're around my age. Fit Girl Mel, she is best known for training Kim Kardashian. I've followed her for so long. She, I think, is in her 40s, and she's like, her story is so inspiring of just like her fitness journey. She just has a very like realistic, real approach to fitness and aging and life and all of that. I also love Arielle Lore. She is sober. She talks a lot about wellness, all of that. She also has a podcast. So those are just a few women, especially if it's like you don't have older siblings or like maybe you're not close to any family members that are older than you. It's just nice to have these positive role models that are maybe in the same industry as you, or they're interested in the same things, or they have something that you just would like to incorporate in your own story and in your own path. Because, you know, sometimes even if you are close with a family member, it's like, that's great, but sometimes you also need, like they might not be into the same things you are, or they may not be, like, in the same industry you want to be in, or things like that. So it's nice to find that, like, find that kind of alignment. Because I think that's also part of the problem, like, backing up. It's like, if you're only following, like, teens on TikTok, or, like, influencers that maybe are in college, or, like, just super, super young, and that's all you're seeing on your feed all day. It's like, yeah, obviously if you don't know what's next, because that you're not seeing it or hearing about it, you are going to freak out a little bit because it's like, oh my God, how am I going to relate to my like college TikTokers? You know, it is so important to prioritize, to first get clear on what it is that you want in your life. And I think the easiest way to start with this is with the feeling, with the value. So do like a values exercise if you wish, even just give it a glance. What stands out the most to you? And then it's like, how can I incorporate this more in my life, even like this week? Follow a variety of people. Another thing I really love to do is read memoirs. I've read so many. I actually read Kris Jenner's memoir mode. I read Demi Moore's memoir, Priscilla Presley, and then Lisa Marie Presley's memoirs. Yeah, love a memoir because also like just showing how life goes. Like reading someone's story, I think can be very inspiring. I just love that. I love like learning about people's life stories and embracing the wisdom and just the knowing, capital K, that comes with age and experience. Prioritizing your own happiness and peace of mind. I also asked you guys on Instagram to share some of your favorite things about getting older, and everything was so inspiring and aligned to everything that we're talking about. And it's just so interesting, it's like, oh, this like fear mongering of like, you're not worth anything as a woman when you're over 25. Oh, you lose your value as you age. And when you actually talk to women and talk to people who are like over 25, over 30, over 40, and even beyond, it's like most everyone, I'm pretty sure it's like everyone I've ever heard say, but I'll say most everyone to give a little, leeway, but everyone says it just gets better. You care less about what people think. You're more aligned with yourself. You take more risks. You're just more like appreciative of life. You're smarter. All these positive things. And so, bro, it's like we gotta live in the moment. Like, who wants to be the like little girl, the youngest girl in the section that doesn't know? And everyone's like, can just tell that you don't know. Like, we want to get chicer, wiser, and know. We just want to know. So with that being said, I would love to know your favorite things about aging and like how do you feel about it? How was it, brought up to you when you were growing up? And let's normalize having these conversations because I think it's something so many people feel and fear, but it just doesn't get brought up a lot because it's like, it's not even like taboo. It's just like, I think a source of discomfort for a lot of people because a lot of people feel like they're not where they want to be. Why would I bring that up? I'm probably the only one that feels like this. And it's like, babe, you're not. We're good. We got this. Kind of on this same topic, and I'm not going to get super deep into this, but I will link the article below. I think there's a paywall. Somebody had posted it as like a gift or something. If y'all know how to get over that paywall, let me know. But the New York Times came out with this story, basically, and you can like find it elsewhere, like just about the specific facts and everything. But the government is like trying to come up with ways to incentivize women and families to have more kids because the US fertility rate is at an all-time low, which is kind of iconic. Let's keep it up, ladies. No shade, no tea if you have kids or want to have kids. But one of the things that they proposed was giving families a one-time check of $5,000 to have a kid, which then I looked up the average cost of having a baby in the United States. If you have a regular vaginal birth with no insurance, it's $30,000 to give birth in a hospital. If you have a C-section and you don't have insurance, it's $50,000. With insurance, the total average hospital bill for a regular birth, $3,400, and same for C-section, which it probably also depends on your insurance. What is that little $5,000 gonna do? And then you have to think about all the things you need to buy and all the doctor's appointments. And it's like, okay, so you guys want to cut Medicaid, cut the DEI programs, cut the Department of Education, get rid of like so many sectors within the FDA. But this is like, and then you're like, why aren't people having more kids? Probably because we're scared they're gonna like be unalived in a pew-pewing at their school. And then you have these like, well, okay, this is also a side note. I could do a whole episode on this. I don't know. Maybe I could. Influencers homeschooling their kids. Why? Like, genuinely, why? There's this lady I follow. I liked some of her content, but it's honestly getting a little weird for me because she's like on her 5th or 6th kid and she like has obviously her influencer business and like is starting more businesses, like new products and like, oh, like we're starting this, we're launching this. And then she is trying to like homeschool all the kids herself and do your content. It's just like, I feel like a disservice to the children. And it's not, I don't want to say it's like about homeschooling specifically. It's like, is it? Because I don't really know. It always, there's kind of like this odd vibe, like no tea, no shade. If if you were homeschooled or if you're homeschooling your kids, but like, you just know that specific vibe of influencers that homeschool. Like, it gives, like, they're all, okay, you know what it gives? I think this is what it gives. It gives they don't, because, like, especially to go to public schools, probably most private schools, I would assume, but you have to be vaccinated. That's like part of the deal. They need to see your paperwork. And so I bet it's that these like weirdos don't want to vaccinate their kids, and so therefore their kids won't be accepted to like even public schools, so you have no choice but to homeschool them. Bro, oh my God. Like, I'm sure that's what it is. That's so dumb. Like, oh my God, what? It's so weird. It's just like the priorities are so wrong. I mean, maybe they're homeschooling their kids because they don't want their kids in the pew-pewing of the local schools. It's just, I don't know. Like, we laugh to keep from crying. I was thinking about this the other night, and I really, because there's only so much you can do, you know? So I really try to not, like, scroll too much, especially, like, on sites like Twitter or sometimes even, like, my FYP on TikTok be getting a little too real, and it's like, okay, like what I talked about earlier. Sometimes you need a break from the world. I don't want to go to scroll and have some laughs and then I'm like presented with more of the worst information I've ever heard. But it's just so crazy how normalized so many horrible things are. Even just like when you walk in the downtown of a city and there's like so many homeless people. Of course, it depends on the city, but you know, it's like we just kind of like accept that. Like it's just kind of normal. And it's like, I was just thinking the other day, like, if you were to read about like a society, like, I remember learning about the Middle Ages in eighth grade, and it was so fascinating to me. And people, okay, also, side note, people always think that's weird. Okay, it's been actually like two instances. People think it's weird when I say that. Like, it was so interesting. I'm like, oh my God, even like, it was actually on a date, bro. I don't even know why we were talking about that. Because, like, oh my God, like, you must be like really messed up. No, it's like, whoa, this happened. Like, and it's like weird to think about, like, oh my God, like I remember learning about like the sewage in the streets, like it was like raw sewage. So they would have all these things like cholera outbreaks and like all these diseases because there was no like safety regulations and like sanitization and even just like the torture methods and like all these weird laws that they had and like public torture. Like, you know, it was like a lot, like the Dark Ages, and then there was the plague. Just like, oh my God. And when a lot of these things, when we talk about it now, I think that's why I was so like fascinated as an eighth grader, because it's like, oh my God, I can't even believe that would be real. You know, it sounds like fake, like a movie. Like it's like, oh my God, what do you mean there was raw sewage in the streets? And then when you look at the way so many things are now, like the amount of homeless people, even just like openly doing drugs in the street, which I'm not saying that in itself is the issue. It's like the lack of mental health care. Like, why are these people even like there in the first place? It's because of the housing crisis. It's because there isn't like support for people. You know, people can't afford their medical bills or they get addicted to their prescription drugs, but then they can't afford the hospital bills anymore. So then they turn to the street. You know, people lose their jobs. There's like not a lot of support and like finding a new one. The pew-pewing in the schools, like, it's crazy how often it happens to where it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I feel numb to it now. Food deserts being a thing. The fact that, you know, depression rates have increased so significantly over the past few years. There was just a story on the news about that. I was watching it at the gym. All of these things. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be like this. Like, it's just so disgusting. You know, we live, especially just in a country with so many resources and wealth and like technology. Even when people like go to Japan, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how far behind the US is. Even when people go to Europe and like everyone's using Apple Pay and it's like normal. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe in the US sometimes it's like a struggle to use Apple Pay. It's like, oh my God. And then people, greatest country in the world. It's like, where? People are dumb. There's like such a lack of just support and like structures to actually help people in a way that is beneficial and not just like, oh, you need to like, why are the birth rates down? We need you to have more kids so we can have more workers in the future. Like, you want to like defund all these programs that help people. It's just, things could be so much better. And it's just, yeah, it's like, imagine explaining all of this to someone like thousands of years from now. They'd be like, oh my God, like y'all lived like that? Like, that's like me in eighth grade learning about the Middle Ages. Like, damn, you live like this? What do you mean there was raw sewage in the streets? Like, what? That sounds crazy. Like, oh, what do you mean there was people like openly using their needles in broad daylight right in front of me every block? Like, and again, like that's not inherently the issue. The issue is the system, the lack of a system to help people. And like, oh, it's just like, and when you read about history and stuff, it's like, it makes sense why things are the way that they are. So that's why it's like, bro, I don't even know where to begin. Again, you kind of have to protect your energy because there's only so much that as an individual you can do. But with that being said, this is where we need to take our deep breaths, y'all. We're getting heated. Living into your values, practicing integrity, incorporating peace, and whatever other values you personally have into your daily life, making it a non-negotiable, being, selective with your time, with your boundaries. And I know some of these words get overused, but it's very true. At the end of the day, we can only control ourselves, but it is individuals that make up, society, or like even just like a neighborhood or like any form of community. So we have to do our part in like making sure that we're good to create that ripple effect. I truly believe that. And of course, a lot of things are beyond us. It's like that fine line between like, okay, it's out of my control, what can I do? And then like feeling hopeless. So tiptoeing on that fine line, again, doing things that are in our control to feel as normal as we can, given the conditions. What are you gonna do? And then y'all are worried about turning 23 and it's like, we're living in the new Middle Ages. Like, I'm just kidding, kind of. So I did get a couple questions on IG, so I'm going to answer those. Make sure you're following my podcast IG at Stella Rae Podcast to be a part of the next Q&A. Do you think the stress caused by husbands and boyfriends impacts how a woman looks and feels with age? 1000%. I know because I have experienced it. And I did not partake in the me in a relationship, me out of a relationship trend on TikTok. If you guys saw that, take a look. It was from a few weeks ago, weeks, but that, and it's like some people were being really mean and being like, "What? I don't let myself go in a relationship." But you have to understand, like, if you're with a narcissist, if you are with someone whose literally objective and goal is to suck all of the energy and life out of you, it's gonna impact how you look. You're just not gonna have like the energy. Bro, I lost so much weight just from stress. Like, I wasn't like not eating. I feel like I was eating like more treats because I was like trying to like have some form of like dopamine. I was just trying to feel good. Like, oh my God. I don't know if you guys, I don't even know her name, but this girl will do like, she's so funny on TikTok. She's like, this is what it means if, and in this instance, she's like, this is what it means if you always crave ice cream when you're around your boyfriend. And she's like, it means that he's not right for you because why are you craving that sweet? And it's like, she's kidding, but it's real AF. I remember I would always crave this cookie and it was like the best part of my day. And I would always get it when I was by myself, like away, and I got like a break. And then after I finally ended things and got some distance, I went to go get that cookie and it wasn't even that good. Makes you think. But yeah, so I was like eating more treats, but I was like losing weight because of just the sheer stress. Bro, I must have had higher metabolic weight. All that stress was causing my heart rate to increase, so I was losing weight. So yeah, it definitely impacts you, like, and this isn't even on some, like superficial shit. Like, it's not about that. It's genuinely like your energy. Bro, if you're stressed out, you're not going to look your best. If you're relaxed, if you're calm, if you're in your own energy, if you feel like, things are working out for me, I feel good, I don't have this constant just like gnawing stress at me, your face is going to be less scrunched up on the daily. You're going to have more time to like take care of yourself. You're going to actually be able to get good sleep at night. You're going to, all these things. So yeah, something to definitely think about. You need to put yourself first. Okay? Just a couple more questions. This girl says, girl, what are the advantages of leaving home? Like, I'm saving money, but question mark, what am I missing? I think it honestly depends. Like, it depends. I feel like sometimes I'm like, damn, I do spend a lot in rent. I think it just depends on your goals. Like, if you don't know what your goals are, I would say stay home. Just work as much as you can and save money. But I think at a certain point, especially like living at home, like with your parents or like with family, it kind of can get to your mental health and just like even if it's not bad, it's like sometimes you can just do more, live your life more away from that, you know? And I do think, I mean, it depends on your culture too, because some cultures it's like you live with your parents till you get married. So this isn't like, I'm not saying you should like go against something. Like, you know what I mean? This is just like literally my own personal opinion. Like, if that isn't you and you're just trying to decide, you just have to kind of check in with yourself because sometimes it's worth taking a risk. Like, sometimes I'm like, damn, bro, I was so thirsty to like move out so quick. Like, I'm like, damn, I could have like saved more money. I should have like finished my degree. Like, there's so many things like, but then it's like, okay, like I still got life experience, like everything worked out, like it just would have been a different path, you know? It just would have been different, like not necessarily better. And it's easy to be like, shoulda, woulda, coulda, So I guess my answer is it depends. Like, do it if you have a plan. It's nice to save money, but you just have to know when that's actually getting in the way of your growth, you know? Yeah. Oh, then she also said, I want to wear miniskirts. I don't care how old I am, period. Okay, I guess that was the last question. So that is going to be all we talk about today, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this new style of podcast. Hopefully the episode is longer. Hopefully you can leave this feeling a little more invigorated. We're going to embrace where we are at in life because the goal is to have a fulfilling, fun life. Wisdom, learning things, experiences. Not like, I want to be 19 forever and be like the youngest girl in the section, so everyone's like, oh my god, that bitch doesn't know what she's doing, and like no one, the maintenance man isn't gonna respect you because you don't know like how to ask for like the light bulb getting changed, okay? Bro, I don't know about y'all, but oh my god, like y'all don't admire coming out. No, can y'all like admire the aesthetic and just like the energy of like an older woman? You know what I mean? So much beauty in every stage of life. And I don't know if it's just like the Tumblr aesthetic days getting like are still in there. It's like, oh, you could have like this like MILF aesthetic. And then you can have, and not in like a weird porn way. That's not what I mean. I mean just like when like, grown, sexy, like woman. Like that's fun. It's not like, bro, like stop living by these weird like porn standards of like teen. Like that's gross. That's not, you don't want that forever. You don't. Like you're missing out on a lot of like, stop living by these weird porn standards of like hot. Like it's very, and again, it makes sense why people do that because of our society. Like it's not like your own fault or, you didn't make that up for yourself. It's society, it's patriarchy, it's misogyny, it's all these things. We gotta unlearn it so that we can embrace the different phases of life. And then also, Shira7 had a video about this. I just saw the TikTok. She's like, a grown man will put a paper bag over anyone and still be aroused. They will be aroused by a turkey, a raw turkey, a raw dead turkey. That Adriana Lima quote. A man will be aroused. This, I don't think that's exactly what she said, but a man will be aroused by like, what was it? A burrito, a jar of peanut butter. So their opinion doesn't matter. They're gross. They wish you were underage so they could take advantage of you. Like, hello. We gotta start living for ourselves, ladies. Okay. Love y'all. Let me know your thoughts on any of this down below. Don't forget to follow the IG. If you want, you could take some deep breaths. End the podcast. We're about to go back into the world, go back to what you were doing, feeling good, feeling like I got this. I'm embracing where I'm at. I'm excited for what's to come. We got this, y'all. Love you guys, and I will talk to you next week.